For as long as I can remember, my home never truly felt like a home. Most nights I woke up to the sound of arguments. My mother stayed quiet, while my father's voice shook the walls. I would sit silently in the corner, trying to understand why love in our house felt so heavy. One night, I heard my father whisper angrily on the phone. His voice carried a strange fear. It wasn't the anger I was used to. It was something darker, as if he was hiding a burden too big to carry. That was the night everything in my life began to shift. I felt deep inside that there was a truth buried in this family that no one ever wanted me to know. A truth powerful enough to change my entire life. I had no idea that this night would become the beginning of my real story. The next morning, the house was unusually calm, as if someone had wiped away the chaos of the night. My mother moved around quietly, avoiding my eyes, while my father left the house earlier than usual. Something was wrong, and even the walls felt different. I noticed a locked drawer in my parents' room, slightly open, as if it wasn't closed properly. Inside it, I saw a set of old papers tied with a faded ribbon. My heart pounded. I didn't know what they were, but I felt a pull strong enough to make my hands shake. Just then, I heard footsteps and quickly shut the drawer. My mother walked in with a silence that felt heavy. She looked at me like she wanted to speak, but stopped herself. That small moment was the first crack in the truth they had been hiding. I didn't understand it then, but I had just stepped into the doorway of a secret that belonged to me too. The thought of those papers didn't leave my mind. All day, every sound in the house felt louder. Every minute felt heavier. When night came, I found myself standing again near that same drawer, as if something inside it was calling me. This time the drawer opened easily. I pulled out the bundle of papers and unfolded the first one. With trembling hands, it wasn't just an old document. It was a birth record. My birth record. But the names on it were not the names of the parents who raised me. My breath froze. I felt the ground shift beneath me. Before I could read more, I heard the front door open. I hid the papers just in time and sat on the bed, pretending to look through an old book. My father's steps echoed through the hallway, but tonight they sounded different. Slower, heavier, almost ashamed. I wondered if he knew that the truth he had buried for years was finally finding its way to me. And deep inside, I knew there was no turning back now. My story was no longer what I had always believed. Something was waiting for me in those papers. Something that would change everything. The next morning I couldn't pretend anymore. The secret inside those papers pulled at me, like a weight on my chest. As soon as my parents left the house, I locked the door behind them and opened the bundle again. This time I read every page slowly. One paper mentioned a woman's name, a woman I had never heard before. Another letter written in a soft, shaky handwriting spoke about giving up a child for safety. And that child was me. I felt my heartbeat rise as I pieced together the truth. My real mother had been in danger, and she had trusted my parents to keep me hidden and safe all these years. The arguments, the fear, the tension in our home, it wasn't just about money or life struggles. They were protecting a secret, bigger than I had ever imagined. I sat on the floor, unable to move, torn between shock and a strange sense of connection to a woman I had never met. For the first time, I understood why my father sounded afraid that night. The past he tried to bury was resurfacing, and it was tied to me. I closed the papers gently, feeling a storm of emotions inside me. My life wasn't breaking apart. It was finally showing its real shape. That evening, I gathered the courage to face them. My hands were cold, but my voice was steady. I placed the bundle of papers on the table and looked at my parents. My mother closed her eyes, as if she had been waiting for this moment for years. My father didn't speak at first. His shoulders dropped, the way someone finally releases a burden too heavy to carry. He told me everything my real mother had been. A close friend, a woman running from people who wanted to hurt her. She trusted them with her child, believing they would raise me far away from danger. They promised to protect me, even if it meant living with fear, for the rest of their lives. For years they hid the truth, hoping I could have a normal life. But the past had finally reached us. I listened to them quietly, feeling a strange mix of pain, love, and clarity. I wasn't angry. I was finally whole. That night, for the first time in my life, I felt a peace that didn't come from silence, but from truth. My story had been hidden in shadows, but now it was mine to walk into. And as I looked at both of them, I realized something powerful. Family isn't just the blood that creates you. It is the courage that protects you, the sacrifice that shapes you, and the love that stays, even in fear. And this was my beginning, not my end.